Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay. Thought it was going to be a slow news weekend, but Trump and his libertarian speech made it a little less slow. So the Libertarian were having their conference or their convention, and Trump was scheduled to speak at it, trying to convince Libertarians to nominate him as the Libertarian candidate, or at least vote for him. Now, his name was put out there for nomination on the floor for the delegates, but the Libertarian speaker basically said he couldn't be nominated as a Libertarian because he didn't bother to fill out the paperwork. Robert Kennedy Jr. also was nominated, but he only received 2% of the delegates, so he's not going to be your Libertarian candidate. So Trumpers lined up to get into this convention early, and when they got in, they stormed to the front and took all the seats in the front that were for the Libertarian delegates. And there was a bit of a kerfuffle as the Libertarian delegates were trying to get the Trumpers to move out of those seats. And they tried using logic with them. I don't know how successful that was. Basically saying, look, Trump's here to try and convince these delegates to vote for him. And I know you'd like for them to vote for him. So could you get out of the way so that they can sit there? The other thing that was interesting is Robert F. Kennedy and a PAC maybe that he was associated with. I know it was definitely a PAC associated. Were handing out rubber chickens with squeakers in them to squeak during Trump's speech. And the Secret Service confiscated those. You know, you weren't allowed to bring water, something else, and rubber chickens. Let's see if I can find it here, the actual quote. Got it. Okay. No lighters, no water bottles, no noisy chickens. One agent yelled to attendees. Lighters, okay, fire, water bottles, what, you're afraid they're going to throw it at them? Noisy chickens, oh, for God's sake, really? Now, when I saw that, all I could think of was Linda G. And for years, she's been telling us she saw Trump getting booed. And that happened a lot at this convention. He was getting booed, and I think she was commenting about people throwing tomatoes at him or something like that. So no tomatoes were thrown, but he was getting booed, and he was a little bit flustered because he said, you should support me. You should vote for me. And they're booing him. It's like, well, if you're not going to name me as your candidate, at least vote for me. And he met with more boos. Now, it was mixed with cheers and boos because there were a lot of Trumpers there. And the Trumpers are cheering, and the Libertarians were booing. He did not convince the Libertarians. And then he started insulting them, which I think he was trying to use logic. But he said, here, the quote is great. Now, I think you should nominate me, or at least vote for me, and we should win together, because Libertarians want to vote for me. And it's very important, because we have to get rid of the worst president in history. We did that in 2020. Trump added, only do that if you want to win. If you want to lose, don't do that. Keep getting your 3% every 4 years. Gary Johnson, who was the Libertarian candidate, got a little more than 3% of the popular vote in 2016, which is their high water mark. Trump left the stage after 34 minutes, marking one of his shortest campaign speeches to date. So basically, he was met with a hostile crowd. It seems like his agents were trying to get his supporters up front to make a lot of noise. All he would hear were the cheers. But the Libertarians, delegates that to get in the front, they turned their back to him. There were a lot of boos from the back. Trump was facing a hostile crowd. He didn't handle it very well. So let's look at the energy around Trump and the Libertarians, as well as where it goes from here, okay? Again, congratulations to Linda G. She's been predicting stuff like this happening, and it looks like it's finally here. Okay, Trump and the Libertarian thing. The Magician. He's there, with his accordion of hypnotic falsehoods, trying to convince the Libertarians that he's the person they need. Now, mind you, if the Libertarians got 3% of the vote, of the popular vote, that's a nice chunk of change there. That could very well make the difference in swing states if he could convince like 3% all the Libertarians to vote for him and not for a Libertarian candidate. So here he is trying to manifest those votes and trying to bring them into the fold of Trump as a GOP candidate. And doing it basically by saying, you guys right now are a bunch of losers. And if you want to continue being losers, then don't vote for me. But here's the thing. It's an illusion. The Libertarians, by their reaction, they don't want to be called losers. They look at Trump as an outsider trying to get in, or at least they're outsiders. But their camp and Trump's camp, while they overlap, they don't agree. And he was not welcome with open arms. He was being booed out of the building. So you've got Trump trying to turn this into a positive, but the energy is low energy. They see through the illusion. They don't want him as their representative. Trump basically said, you're a bunch of losers. And the Libertarians are like, well, yeah, but so are you without us. And you don't represent us. You're an outsider trying to get in. In the past, you have the Four of Pentacles. Again, Trump is we won't focus on the health here. This is Trump trying to hold on to votes, trying to hold on to votes, voters, and his popularity. And he lost some to the insurrection, being arrested. He lost some due to poor health and COVID. And he lost some because his policies are terrible. Not to mention what he's done for women's rights. So he's holding on and he's trying to expand to other groups. But here's the thing. Donald Trump doesn't know how to expand. He doesn't know how to be inclusive. He's only divisive. Everything's a competition where he's the judge and he divides people up and conquers them one at a time. So trying to bring libertarians in, as I use my accordion of hypnotic falsehoods, trying to bring libertarians in doesn't work because he's used to kicking people out. Okay? So this is all new territory. And as you can see, his way to bring them in was to insult them that they'll never be in power unless they vote for him. Now, he did offer to put a libertarian in his cabinet and to free some guy who had a dark website that sold anything from, oh, good Lord, he was a crook. Who is he? Ross Ulbricht, creator of the underground website Silk Road, which let users anonymously buy or sell anything from drugs to hacking tutorials. Yeah, because that's who I want pardoned. That's exactly who I want pardoned. So much for the party of law and order. Just yet another lie. Current situation is Temperance. Now, if he was convinced, he might get some voters just because of who he's offering to pardon, who he's offering to put into power. But Temperance is a slow process, a slow integration. And again, there is some overlap between the Libertarians and the Republican Party. But Trump is an extremist. He's on the extreme end of the Republican Party. And that might even be a bridge too far for the Libertarians. I could see some small amount going over there, saying, well, maybe what he's saying makes sense. But I don't think the majority are going to do this. This is not going to be the home run that he's hoping it's going to be. Overarching energy is the Justice card. He's got, it's funny. He's got his legal problems that he's facing here, and people are waiting to see the results of these legal problems. I think that's weighing on him. One of the things they've said in polls, now believe it if you want to or not, that some people said they will not vote for a president who's convicted of felonies, and he's facing 34 of them. So he knows he's going to be losing votes. He's trying to get the Nikki Haley votes, but he hasn't really done anything to bring him in. Notice again, he's done nothing to unify. He only divides. So instead, in this, the Temperance is about it's about mixing and bringing things together. Trump can't do this. Trump likes to be the judge. He likes to be the one who's like, you're either loyal to me or you're not, and I'll be the one who judges on this one. He's not a uniter, he's a divider. He's also facing a lot of court cases, too. Lesson to be learned. He's not everybody's cup of tea. He's not everybody in the Libertarians' cup of tea. He might have scored some points. He got nominated, but he couldn't even be nominated because he didn't bother to fill out the paperwork. I mean, nothing says, I want your votes more, I want to be your Libertarian nomination, like not filling out the paperwork and even doing the bare minimum. He's not their first choice, second choice, or third choice. He could be their fourth choice on things. Outcome is going to be the High Priestess. I don't think this is going to be wildly successful for him. Again, he might get some votes. It's possible he gets some votes. By the way, look at the number of fours. We got a 4, a 4, and a 4. All lined up here. I'm trying to think of what that's going to signify. But long and short with the High Priestess, they don't want him. He doesn't speak their language. He doesn't represent their values. And honestly, the Libertarians probably recognize him for the tyrant and the dictator he is, maybe more so than anybody else. So, while he may try to win them over with baubles and promises, whether or not he keeps the promises is one thing. You know, he sometimes does, sometimes he doesn't. You know, what's in it for him? If he feels like not enough Libertarians voted for him, he's not going to nominate a Libertarian. The only way he was going to nominate a Libertarian was if he was their candidate. And he's not going to be their candidate. Therefore, that deal is off the table. So any Libertarian voting for him is must have the most absolute worst opinion of Biden ever and has a real hatred for democracy. Or they're just an idiot. I'll let you figure out which one. It could be all three. All right. Now, I think, honestly, I think for the most part the Libertarians are smarter than that. I think they smell a dictator when they see one. If anything, a dictator is the antithesis of what they want. Libertarians are all about, they don't want any government. They're about as close to an organized anarchy as you're going to get. And they don't want any government. They want the most minimal government possible. And Trump is basically wants the government to do everything, but in a dictatorial type fashion. Okay. That was the energy around it. How's Trump thinking about his campaign there? His convincing the Libertarians. How does he think he did? Queen of Pentacles. He just thinks he's the practical choice. They got to vote for me. Who else would they vote for? They'd be foolish if they didn't vote for me. He's a little bit a pair of queens here, no less. I think though that their reaction caught him off guard. They were trying to get him ready for a hostile crowd. He's not used to that, though. He's used to his rallies where, only the most faithful of the Trump faithful drive around and cheer him on all the time, and he can verbally gaffe and use word salads and make up facts, and they applaud him anyways. So I think that caught him off guard. He thinks, he's the practical choice, but he might start rethinking going in front of audiences that aren't filled with his supporters, because I don't think he wants to go through that again. That might have hit him. This did not go well. He knows it didn't go well. Emotionally, he knows it didn't go well. By his logic, he doesn't understand why it didn't go well. They don't have any other good choices, and he offered him things of value. Why aren't they supporting him? Why are they booing him? He's genuinely confused. I mean, he's the guy with money grows on trees. Of course they should be voting him. He's a winner. Current situation is the devil card. It's his own narcissism. It's his own destructive behaviors that he can't understand why people don't love him and want to support him. I mean, to him, he's a winner. Who wouldn't want to support a winner? Because by his own value system, he would vote for him. You know, strong, tough, wealthy, powerful, winner, winner, winner. Except he never eats a chicken dinner. And he doesn't know why, you know, his followers chain themselves happily to him. But these folks didn't. They didn't want to drink the Kool-Aid. And here's your third queen. I got 3 fours. Now I have 3 queens here. Overarching energy is the Queen of Swords. It was a harsh reality in front of that. Again, he may not have thought it was a friendly, like, you know, it wasn't his supporters. He might have known that, but I don't think he was ready for the harsh reception that he got. I really do wonder if he's going to not do things like that going forward here. Lesson to be learned. 10 of Pentacles. It's offering things of value. That didn't change the crowd much. It changed them a little bit. He got some cheers when he offered him things of value. But there weren't enough things of value he could offer them. And his legacy is starting to get tarnished, probably by those court cases. But long and short, he was not able to buy the Libertarians like he seems to be able to buy the extremists in the Republican Party. The outcome, oh dear, those are not good cards. The outcome is the 7 of Cups. Illusions, delusions, lack of integrity. He will kid himself into thinking that, like, those delegates the people that were there don't represent libertarians. Because he can't, this is part of his cognitive issues, he can't picture a scenario where he's not beloved and he's not the winner, and who would ever vote for Sleepy Joe Biden when you've got Donald Trump to choose between it. To him, it's a non-choice. How do you even compare the two individuals? He's had such a rude awakening. It's probably why he's so willing to believe anybody who told him that the election was stolen in 2020, because he lost to somebody he felt was old and feeble, and he would call old and feeble, and his supporters all thought he was old and feeble, and he lost to somebody who's old and feeble. So, it's not like he lost, in Trump's mind, he lost to a strong, powerful candidate. He lost to an old, feeble candidate. So, if you lose to a strong, powerful candidate, at least you can console yourself that, yeah, I'm strong and powerful too. He's just a little bit stronger, more powerful, maybe cheated. But he lost to an old, feeble guy. You deserve to be mocked. It's like, yeah, you lost to that old Sleepy Joe there. If you lost to Sleepy Joe and he's feeble, what the hell does that make you? See what I mean? That's kind of where the darkness in his mind goes. It's kind of like those little black gribblies in the movie Ghost that take the bad guys away. That's basically what runs around him and runs around his head. Those little gribbly things. Okay. Will Trump reach out to any other of these groups? Any of these other smaller parties here? The Libertarians were his best shot. Little 4-carder. Is he going to... Did he learn his lesson, or is he going to keep going? He's going to keep going. Page of Wands. This is exploring. Still trying the Magician. He's still going to try and get other groups to support him because he's worried about the numbers. Yep. Going forward with it. He's worried about Biden. He's at a crossroads. Yeah, he knows he has to keep going. He knows that I think again, we talk about the polls and the fake polls. I think the Republicans or the people that have the real polls, he knows he's at a crossroads here. He's got to get more people in his camp, like the Nikki Haley supporters, for instance. This campaign is grinding forward. He needs to manifest more people on here because Biden isn't screwing up right now. He's kind of, if he can't pull people in, he's got to count on Biden screwing things up. So, does he try and manifest problems for Biden? If you've got you've got the student protesters of Palestine, and that seems to be waning. He was trying to really flame that up to make it seem like there was civil unrest under Biden, and therefore Biden's weak and you shouldn't vote for him. But that didn't go anywhere. And they were talking about some mass violence or something like that. I never really followed this story. He's going to try and gin up some more controversy with Biden, and like the debates. I think one of the reasons why he agreed to the debates was he has to do something to get people riled up. And again, he's not the same person he was even 4 years ago. And 4 years ago in the debates, he wasn't all that great. He's just 4 years older with long COVID and a spiraling mental health situation and cognitive decline. Things are not coming up roses or aces for this man. He might have good days, but he's having more bad days than good days. We'll leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your likes, shares, comments, everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so this video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome to the channel. Glad you found us. Hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.